Hola a todos, estamos en un nuevo directo del directo del 3. Pero, a ver, veamos. Vamos a ver, ahora vamos a ver PlayStation. Aquí vamos a ver el directo que vamos a sacar. Ahora vamos viendo acá. Ahora vamos viendo acá qué es lo que pasa. Ahora qué es lo que pasa. Vamos viendo acá. Parece que... ¿Pero qué clase de un nuevo Spider-Man? Sí, aquí estamos en un nuevo directo del E3 que va a salir de un trailer o de gameplay. Aquí estamos viendo la de Spider-Man en directo.
For a second there, I thought you were serious. I am serious. I have to go. Some of them are heading into the city. This is nuts.
Aquí estamos en el día 2. Aquí estamos. Aquí vamos. Ay, por lo menos sabe cómo hacerlo. Sabe cómo hacerlo.
How do you like my new suit?
Por lo menos
Dashing.
vaya
Where'd you get it?
que se vea así.
It's an exclusive club.
He said not to kill him.
Pero
Good idea.
¿qué
In fact, we
es
don't
lo
have
que
to do
pasa
this at all
acá?
if you don't want to.
Definitely want.
¿Qué es lo que pasa? ¿Pero qué es lo que está pasando? ¿Por qué se ve así de ese color? Pero qué es lo que le inyectaron.
You?
¿Pero qué? ¿Pero qué? ¿Pero qué es lo que veo? ¿Qué es lo que... ¿Quién era? ¿Pero quién era que... ¿Quién? ¿Pero qué foto salí? ¿Qué será un chatet nuevo? Pues si ya está el ¿qué?
Devil's Curse.
¿Qué? Mogol Invasión, día 9. Pero que como Japón antiguo.
Nobu, come.
Sí, tengo. No tengo ninguna.
Where are they? No! Bastards! Enough! What's next, Samurai?
Pero parece que como la época, como se ve como la época antigua de Japón, obviamente como que se ve que la televisión son hechos en Japón, obviamente que son hechos en Japón, es Japón antiguo.
Jin, you're late.
You're impatient. Where's the monk?
The bastards beat me to him. Now they're torturing him at the temple.
Come on.
He thinks the monk's a hero.
We need him, Masako. Down.
We can take them.
No. Remember Sako Bridge. We strike quietly. And they kill the monks. You stick right across the mouth.
I'll guard the exits. Just get that monk.
En Amaralla is back. Viva George. Please, I do not understand.
Vaya que de forma anticipada los ataques y anticipa ataques y lo ataca así.
We have to move.
Creo que acabas de salvar.
Masako!
Stand aside, Jin. You betrayed my family.
Run! If we fight, Mongols win.
They already won.
Vaya que la evaluación que se ve como si fueran de las katanas.
You were my friend.
Give me
Look. No. You hear them coming? That's our enemy.
Viene causa en la cima de la misma productores de Infamous. A lo mejor. Pero qué iba a pasar sobre la pantalla así. Pero qué gameplay es esta vez.
the oldest house. Is a shifting place. There are rules,
Pero qué gameplay es.
rituals. You can keep traveling deeper.
Porque como cambiar de forma. Como cambiar de forma y qué sucedió. ¿Qué gameplay es? Lo que es control para que te qué cosa. El próximo año. todos esos gameplays que se mostraron ahora mismo. La cosa que se está haciendo ahora. ¿Y qué son esos indies online? Que también vamos a tener más de PlayStation Pro. Ay, ¿cómo te VR? Pero cómo voy a hacer directo con VR? Se ve, pero solamente solo se ve la pantalla azul. Destiny. Si te dejo el juego sería. Resident Evil 2. No sé de PlayStation. Bueno. Y ahora cuando que otro sería. Que otro tipo de la pero sí tengo que jugar.
My son, we do not fight because the world makes us fight. We fight for a greater purpose. We forge into the unknown to fulfill the promise we made. No matter the darkness, nothing will stand in our way. Again.
No te jugar nunca. Sí, pero creo que la próxima actualización que hubo nuevas pistas en el Gran Turismo. Apenas te ve una pena que te pintan en el no sería 500 F. Gran Turismo Sport. Aunque ya se puede, ahora que se puede acceder, ahora se puede comprarse ahora mismo. Pero el problema es que Gran Turismo Sport hay que estar conectado en internet cada momento jugando en campaña y conectado en internet por 24 horas. O sea, si se juega así sin offline, aparece un cántaro imposibilitado de jugar.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back. We are still here, PlayStation Live from E3 in Los Angeles, and I have some very special guests on the stage with us talking about 11/11 Memories Retold, Yoan, and also Elijah Wood, who fans may recognize from certain cinematic events.
Cinematic events.
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. It's so good to have both of you, Meredith, on stage as well. So
Pleasure's
thank you. I mean, Elijah, before we get to your performance in 11/11, Yoan, maybe you could creative director on Valiant Hearts.
Yes.
Are you the creative director on
Yes.
11/11 as well? Tell me a little bit about your vision and sort of your core philosophy.
Okay.
All of the games about war, this game really talks about human, like not about war as a gamey thing, but as a real thing, and what people experience during war with their family, with their friends. So it's about the humanity and the peace at the end.
Yeah. And to do that, you could tell the story of Harry, who's a photographer from Canada,
Yes.
who, let's see, it's in November of 1916.
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Wood comes in.
Yeah. He's the one.
So, Elijah, we were talking backstage. You came onto this project fairly recently.
Yeah, a couple of
I was
months
actually
ago, wasn't it?
wondering,
Yeah.
Digo
tell me
qué
a little bit
cosa ha
about sort
salido
of what
nuevo
about the project drew you in and
con el
kind of,
E3 que ha salido.
encouraged you to take it on.
Well, sort of what he was saying about the approach to a war game that eschews the notion of shooting. That we're so used to war games being about sort of FPS, sort of, you know, a lot of fun, but it sort of misses some of the humanity of the storytelling. And the fact that this is primarily about two characters who are stuck in a situation where they're both from opposing sides, and they have to help each other out to get out of a precarious situation, and they recognize the humanity in each other, and it's not about being on opposing sides of the war. At that moment, it's about helping each other. And I just loved that about it. And I also love the art style. You know, Aardman Entertainment, who people are probably familiar with in regards to Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run, are the people that are helping them do the art style with this very sort of painterly, almost sort of evolving watercolor sort of approach, which I was really intrigued about as well.
And the whole game is like a living painting, so it's very artistic, it's very unique. It has a unique style that you've never seen before.
Por lo menos el directo anterior, que el último gameplay que vi para allá que era como pusieron a uno que no sabía cómo se jugaba, solamente presionaba haciendo estos botones como así, solamente movimiento del mando, pero presionando los botones y ya van, y el movimiento del personaje.
The intensity of emotion that they can have during the journey through war is very intense, as you can guess. And with painting, you can feel this emotion because it's not realistic at all. It's a way to represent what you feel in your mind. The strokes, they move. It's a living something.
I also noticed in the trailer you have such a haunting soundtrack. Just that one little trailer. Was the music something that you were considering as you were thinking the painterly style, or did one inspire the other?
Yes, we didn't reveal yet who is the composer, but he's a very great one. And we recorded in London in a famous studio. It's something also that will add a lot to the experience. And we worked with the composer from the start of the story, so he was involved into the storytelling itself. And as you can hear, we recorded a choir, a big choir, because choir is the human
voice. Yeah,
it's very important.
I don't want you to have to give away too much, but in terms of the gameplay and the mechanics that players can expect in your game, can you tell us a little bit about the moment to moment?
Pero qué gráficos son estos. Parece como si hubieran hecho de un MC2.
For example, at a certain moment,
Como
Harry
si
is on the
hubieran
battlefield
utilizado en
in Passchendaele,
MC2.
a city in Belgium.
Vuelto a la vida,
And there
sí.
was a big battle in Passchendaele, and you have a lot of wounded on the floor, and you have to choose as a player, as Harry, you have to choose like, my job is to take pictures of that. He's an official photographer. But like, what should you do? Should you just take pictures, do your job, or should you just help the guy that is on the floor? Like this
Those sort of moral choices.
That's interesting. Now you actually have these two characters. Do you, in the gameplay, bounce between Harry and the other character, or are you always with the same protagonist?
Yes, that's the thing of the game. It's all about the two sides, like you can see on the logo. And on one side is Harry, on the other side is Kurt, a German, that is an engineer. He's doing technical stuff on the front. And both of them have no weapon. So Harry has a camera and Kurt has wired tools.
Elijah, I was wondering if you could speak to the fact that I mean, in your career as an actor, you've done such physically expressive work, and in voice, I mean, you're kind of exercising a whole different set of skills. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering kind of how you adapt, how you leverage different techniques, and where your acting comes from for this role.
Well, voices, I mean, in some ways it's really freeing because you're not having to consider yourself physically. It's all your voice. I suppose the challenge, to your point, comes in if there is physicality within the context of what the character is going through, trying to express that in front of a microphone without being able to
By
physically
yourself.
move is its own kind of challenge. But I really love it, and you know the game and the scenarios are so evocative, and they were so wonderful in terms of describing the sequences. And I saw some of the footage as well. All of that kind of helps to paint a really clear picture of what's necessary from the character at any given stage. So I just love it. We recorded over the course of 2 days absolutely everything. It was kind of a marathon.
Oh yeah, that was very.
¿Pero qué? ¿De algo?
Easy, in fact, because Elijah is a gamer, so it's more easy to understand. Like, okay, this line could be weird, but it's a video game, so you have to explain something to the player, and you have to repeat it, many times with variation. And for Elijah, it was very easy because as a gamer, you totally understand why you have to repeat that line again and again.
Yeah.
So it was very funny.
Yeah, these are reaction lines. These are lines of dialogue. This is narration. But being a gamer, all that stuff was pretty familiar.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't have to go through wardrobe or makeup or
Right?
anything.
Exactly.
So much
Are there certain
easier.
video games that really inspired you for this performance?
I'm sorry?
Are there certain video games that just have inspired you?
There
Only
wasn't
other voice actors?
There, not really. I mean, as it pertains to this particular character, it was really just the script that they had written. The sort of innocence of this character. It was all very clear where he was coming from, and ultimately how the war and the experience changed him. And I was just trying to add as much realistic emotion to that sort of experience.
It works very well.
Cool.
Elijah, and I think it's great that, a professional actor, sometimes like people like myself don't often assume that you play video games just for fun.
Right.
But you do, yeah. And I was just wondering, like, kind of, what do they mean to you? Like, what draws you to them? What are the things that resonate with you the most in games?
I mean, probably character and story. I think, obviously I play all kinds of games that don't necessarily rely on those things. But, something like The Last of Us, that elicits emotional responses. And that's sort of to me, the height of video games in terms of what they're capable of doing is sort of similar to film. It can actually draw you in, and you feel like you're a part of a sort of cinematic experience, but you're really paying attention to characters. And I love those kinds of games.
Absolutely. Johan, before I let you go, if you could convey one thing about your game to our audience here today and kind of your hopes for it, what would it be?
I think it's all about the ending, because it's called 11:11, and it finishes at 11 a.m. That means something, so it's all about the the ending.
And you can tell us the ending right now, right?
In fact, there are,
No.
there are 28 endings. So.
And it
Elijah,
comes out this November, right?
yes.
Yeah,
This November.
exactly.
Elijah, Johan, thank you both so much
Thank
for
you so
joining
much for
us on
having
stage.
us.
Meredith, thank you for
My pleasure.
hosting with me. Thanks to everyone in our audience here at
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to everyone watching at home. We have a lot more coming. PlayStation Live from E3 continues from Los Angeles. Stay with us.
A lonesome star in a bitter sky. I hear the hungry ghosts calling out in the night. Just a couple victims of this brutal prize. Am I strong enough to let things just die? Just to keep a spark alive. But if there's nothing on the other side, why can't I leave well enough alone and go to the light?
PlayStation.
It's too late to keep quiet. You have finally arrived. I don't brag to take his toys apart to see him. You do understand I want what's best for you. Just follow me. Come along.
What the hell is your problem?
You trying to get us killed?
Trying to get us killed?
Who are you? You do understand I want what's best for you. Good. You should know that we have made remarkable progress today.
PlayStation. PlayStation.
Hey, everybody. We have microphone.
There it goes.
Welcome back, everybody. Justin and Ryan here, along with Jason Connell, art director at Sucker Punch Productions, to talk about Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Which is, holy cow, man. Let me just say, this is one of the most impressive things I've seen this year at E3. Congratulations on
thank
the
you.
reception to it, on creating this incredible thing. I think today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do a deep dive into the world of Ghost of Tsushima.
That's right.
So we have a few shots that we're going to queue up here, and what I'd like is for you to just kind of walk us through what we're seeing. Talk to us about some of the artistic techniques and some of the technical tricks that you're using to make this game look so incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, let's queue up the first shot and let's get in there.
So you have to do it in a quick amount of time, right? Yeah. You have to explain your entire process. This is a shot in one of our bamboo forests, and what I love about this shot, aside from all I'm a lighting, I love lighting so much, but the volumetric haze and the kind of nice translucency on the leaves, all of that stuff makes you feel real.
Yeah.
But it's also trying to get everything in the frame. That's something that we're trying to do. Like
como en 4K.
start making a game like this, and you look at an old Kurosawa film or something like that. They have a good documentary called Composing Movement about a still samurai with the world around them just moving. And I love this frame because it just showcases that.
That really comes through, especially in the trailer that we saw at the showcase. You can really see everything in the frame is moving. It's so just alive. Everything feels alive. It's really just an amazing job you guys are doing.
That's the reason we opened up with that shot. You know, it's exactly what we want people to see when we first debut the game. So
And what's amazing is this is just one small little slice of the world that you guys are building at Sucker Punch. It's unreal.
Yeah,
Shall we move to the next one?
Yeah, please.
Oh my God! What? Come on, man!
I kind of forgot the order, so like I'm just gonna be shocked each time. Like, this is beautiful. I got a couple of things I'd love to talk about here. One of which is when we went to Japan. We went to Tsushima Island, and we saw. I personally saw some of the most beautiful sunsets and sun breaks, and just the sky was really evocative. And and that actually is something that some of our last games had as well. If you go back and look at like Infamous, so now that this game has a dynamic time of day, that made it very challenging because you can't just paint this beautiful skybox. You have to really orchestrate some tech to make these kinds of scenes come true. And this scene does that in spades. But it also has this, something else here. There's a sense of adventure. There's these shrines and places that you're going to be able to get to and go up to on top of high mountaintops. This is a high point in the game where you'll be able to actually visit and go to. So
cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned lighting before, and it really comes through. I think in almost every one of these scenes, the light is just kind of one of the focus. The core pillars of what makes each shot look so beautiful.
Yeah, light. We put a lot of energy and artwork into the way that we light our games, and especially true for this one.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next shot.
Do it.
Wow.
Oh,
Get out of here! Just leave! Get out!
Wow.
I cannot take how beautiful this game is.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things going on here. This is showcasing a variety of biomes. Like, so obviously this is not a bamboo forest. So there are places in the game that you get to that will be quite different than other parts of the game in terms of like the vegetation and the foliage that you'll see kind of around you. We want a lot of variation. We want people to feel like they can remember this place because it's extremely different than the other place. In this particular place, you see more of like a Golden Lake kind of feel. So it's another good example. Also, I'm very fond of the sky that's going on here. Another really good example, procedural sun breaks and breaks in the sky. Really feel like it's kind of foreboding, but it's also got a moment of beauty to it. So that's intentional.
And the water as well. Yeah. I mean, just, I don't know if you touched on that earlier, but you have the birds coming through as well.
Yeah. Well, if you look really closely, you can see like insects kind of flittering above the water there and everything.
Yeah.
I thought they were birds. They're probably insects.
Maybe.
Maybe both.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Oh, the insects. Yeah, that's our effects artist. So
that looks incredible. Cool. Let's move on to the next next shot.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, this area. Part of what we're trying to do with Ghost of Tsushima is, it's very easy when you go and create. I mean, it's a photoreal based engine. The technology lends itself to making very photorealistic looking scenes. But our goal here is it's very easy. Just add more stuff in. Like you could have this purple, flower little grove and just add weeds and more bushes and more just trees and like make it a little bit less manicured and maybe it's more photoreal. But it's very easy to add more on. But actually, as artists, I think it's really hard to be very minimal. Like, and our goal with the art direction for the game and in the environments is to be minimal in that way, so that it's a little bit more lasting and you remember it. And this is true for if you watch the demo. The Pampas Valley that you see. It's not Pampas Valley with tons of trees and weeds and lots of other things. It's a pretty large sheet of this like white color, or the end with the red leaves. It's very intentional to be. If you be a little bit more minimal, people will remember it longer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I notice. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is it difficult for you as an artist and you as a team to sort of exercise that great restraints that you're describing to kind of hold back when you feel like you need to do more?
Yeah, actually, it is really hard. I mean, you want you want it to be impactful, so the urgency is like to just add more. But it is quite hard. But it's a practice thing, and we're getting better at it. We've been working on it for a while, so we've been getting better at it, and we're going to keep getting better at it. We've been working with some of our J Studio partners, and that they comment on stuff like that, and it's really helpful. So
this is unreal. I notice you're making extensive use of depth of field.
Yeah. To it. So that's
and the water as well. I mean, just I don't know if you touched on that earlier, but you have the birds coming through as well. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, if you look really closely, you can see like insects kind of flittering above the water there and everything.
Yeah.
I thought they were birds. They're probably insects.
Maybe both.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Oh, the insects. Yeah, that's our effects artist. So
that looks incredible. Cool. Let's move on to the next next shot.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, this area. Part of what we're trying to do with Ghost of Tsushima is, it's very easy when you go and create. I mean, it's a photoreal based engine. The technology lends itself to making very photorealistic looking scenes. But our goal here is it's very easy. Just add more stuff in. Like you could have this purple flower little grove and just add weeds and more bushes and more just trees and like make it a little bit less manicured, and maybe it's more photoreal. But it's very easy to add more on. But actually, as artists, I think it's really hard to be very minimal. Like, and our goal with the art direction for the game and in the environments is to be minimal in that way, so that it's a little bit more lasting and you remember it. And this is true for if you watch the demo. The Pampas Valley that you see. It's not Pampas Valley with tons of trees and weeds and lots of other things. It's a pretty large sheet of this like white color, or the end with the red leaves. It's very intentional to be. If you can be a little bit more minimal. People will remember it longer. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I noticed. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is it difficult for you as an artist and you as a team to sort of exercise that great restraint that you're describing to kind of hold back when you feel like you need to do more?
Yeah, actually, it is really hard. I mean, you want you want it to be impactful, so the urgency is like to just add more. But it is quite hard. But it's a practice thing, and we're getting better at it. We've been working on it for a while, so we've been getting better at it, and we're going to keep getting better at it. We've been working with some of our, JStudio partners, and that they comment on stuff like that, and it's really helpful. So
this is unreal. I notice you're making extensive use of depth of field in these shots, and that seems like it would be a really hard thing to emulate in kind of a live environment like a video game. What's it like implementing depth of field into the game and into these shots?
Yeah, so these shots are taken in our world at real locations, and we spruce them up with our cutscene kind of editor a little bit. But like, for example, you don't want to be just running around the world with depth of field on all the time. It's pretty. I've done it. But there are areas that you can do it, and it makes it look really amazing. Like in the duel, we know you're in this mode, and you're fighting. You're in this thing where you're fighting this other person, and we can do some really subtle tricks with the camera to make the scene feel more powerful. Add a little depth of field on it. The beginning of the duel, the camera starts a little higher up, and that's not a very dramatic shot. But as the duel goes on longer and longer and longer, it's not rotating all over the place. You have full control over it, but if you just slowly pull the camera down a little bit so it's more on the plane, it's way more impactful.
It's another area where I think you probably need to practice restraint, because when I was first learning how to take photos, I do some photography stuff on the side. I was always tempted to just crank the depth of field, just destroy the background all the time. But it's a little better if you kind of like find the right balance there, right?
My team keeps me in check. I am it's environment art lead right there. But so it's a thing. I do it all the time. So.
I think we have a couple more shots here. Let's move on. Here we go.
Yeah, so this, the game is about an invading army. The Mongols invaded, and so they all have places and locations in the world. And it's a little, we chose this one at night in the dynamic time of day, and put it here at night, just to showcase that throughout the world, it's not just. Our goal is to have this sharp, beautiful imagery, like this really just lush landscape of places that hopefully people will want to go see, and remember. In high contrast with areas of more death, a little bit more terror, and a little bit more, combat and things like that.
Beautiful. I'm like spellbound.
Yeah, I'm just
like
looking at all these shots. I stare at this giant screen back here. It looks really good on.
Yeah, no, I keep staring over here. Thank you.
I do have, I don't want to get too far away from the world building that you guys are working on, but I'm actually personally curious if you can speak to this. If not, no problem. Creating framed, beautiful moments is so important in your game, but you also want to give the player control of the camera and be able to navigate the environment. Is there a way to kind of balance out enabling player control and kind of direction of the scene, but still preserve the artistic vision that you have?
Yeah, it's something that I think we work on a lot. I mean, if you've ever played a Sucker Punch game, they are very fluid. And that means you have to spend time on camera and controls and all that. So while we have this incredibly ambitious, artistic goal, cinematic goal, we have to make sure that it's, marries very well with the gameplay. And that means you have to spend a lot of time iterating. So just for the horse ride, we put that horse ride in there for a lot of reasons in the trailer. One of which is, I think it's just beautiful. But we want to show traversal and all that. But that one, for example, you don't just get for free. Like, it was a lot of iterations on the exact camera angle and how the camera works. I mean, if anyone's ever worked on a camera settings for a horse, it's extremely hard. Like, how much do you have it, rock and rotate? If you can do a lot, and then suddenly you get sick or something, or you can't see the horizon. You can put depth of field on and motion blur, and it's great when you look at it, but if you're playing, it's like maybe you don't see in your peripheral. So it's a lot of teams, gameplay teams, and cinematography folks working together to make sure that those scenes are maximally beautiful but extremely functional.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're at a stage in video games where you kind of need to have like a director of photography working on these games as well.
Yeah, And we have like a myself works on it, but with Billy here, I've got a chance to talk to him yet, but he as well. Like there's a couple people here that are, Nate cares a lot about camera, especially game camera. He's really good at it. So we have quite a team that kind of hit it from a bunch of different angles.
Great.
Just all the more reason to be excited about Ghost of Tsushima, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Let's move on to what I think is our final shot. Here we go.
Yeah. So this is the DOF right up front there. But this is another one that I think it showcases that this is a harsh time. It's not just a walk through the beautiful purple flower area. There's a lot of adventure, and there's a lot of just exploring this world that we're crafting. But there is a reason that you're the hero in this story, because there's been a lot of destruction, and you're trying to save the people of this land. So we wanted to show this off as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, look at everything that's happening in this shot. You've got, obviously, everything on fire, but you've got all these tiny particles, the little embers coming out, not to mention the incredibly blurred foreground. Everything, I mean, there's attention to detail there. Everything is still moving there. How many layers are there here? How insane is this to try and put together from an art direction standpoint?
Yeah, it's, I think that some of the harder things is, we have a
I just want to acknowledge something that's kind of crazy. I think the last time that you and I were on a stream together was when Infamous First Light was getting ready to come out. That was also a PS4 game. Yeah. It looked stunning, but this is on a different level. How have you guys just kind of done something so incredible on the same hardware that it feels like such a jump?
Yeah, we build on a lot of the same tech.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we are doing, and especially is very prevalent in this demo, is really taking.
Pero vamos a hacer esto. Está aquí, aunque todavía siento un poco acá mismo, pero aquí vamos. Vamos a ver dónde se está cargando todavía. Para allá, por lo menos, sí ha vuelto acá. Aunque ya he vuelto nuevamente en Resident Evil 5. Es lo único que puedo tener con lo que cuento. A ver. Un momento. Pero tengo que compartir varios directos. Ahora sí que estoy haciendo. Ahora. No, esta no. Vamos a compartir. Compartir. Bien, vamos compartiendo acá mismo directo. Aquí vamos a escribir. Aquí mismo. Aquí vamos. Veremos qué nueva notificación tenemos. A ver, pero vamos a ver acá mismo, aunque ya tenemos esta, aunque aquí son iguales, pero vamos a poner elegir más como esta. Y ahora, ¿qué tipo de trailer es que va a salir? ¿Qué trailer va a salir esta? O tal vez que tipo de gameplay sea, que la que sea. Pero para mí peor que todo fue parece que para mí el peor caludote que jugaron. Parece que hay gameplay de Spider-Man. Parece que intenta hacer ese que tiene en la mano, pero como lo alumbra. Pero ya hay demos en Spider-Man. Pero creo que está alumbrando. Pero como alumbra si tiene mucha buena luz allí.
My friends, hello. We are still here in Los Angeles for PlayStation Live from E3, and we are going to be talking about Soul Calibur 6. Everyone, I am very excited about this
Soul
game.
Calibur
So good to have
6.
all of you guys here. Let's see, I want to make sure I get
Ah,
names
sí, he
right.
jugado.
Yes.
Parece que
So
el
nice to have you,
último.
Mikey. It's Mikey-san.
Yes,
Parece
Mikey.
que-
Nice to have you.
O sea, he jugado
And
Soul
Justin, thank you
Calibur
so much for being here to
Thank
talk
you very
about
much.
the game.
de Soul
I
Calibur
guess let
Lost
me
World,
start
vaya.
with just kind of the
Aunque he
simple
jugado,
question
pero no era
of,
como
what is the
esperaba.
game's-
Para mí fue el
the game
peor
team's
Calibur.
core
El
philosophy when building Soul Calibur
peor
6. This is a
Soul
long
Calibur
series,
Lost
and
World.
this is obviously
Primero
a
fue para
huge,
Japón,
jump for the
que empezaron
franchise.
que habían
What is your
fallas
core philosophy?
y tuvo que ser
Soul
relanzo
Calibur
en
自体は
inglés o en
もう
español.
今お話ししたように
por-
長い歴史があって、ただ
ね
なかなかやっぱり、
Ah,
前回の前からですね、
Bandai
出すのに時間
Namco.
がかかってしまったっていうのは、
Ah, sí,
やっぱりなか
tengo
なかそ
uno
の
que
会社の方でも認めてもらうのが大変でしたし、ただ逆にそういうソウルキャリバーのブランドがピンチだからこそ、
sí,
こ
pero
こ
la
まで
parte
の
que
シリー
me
ズ全て
encantó
見直し
de
て、
Soul Calibur 2.
どういうところがやっぱりお客様にソウルキャリバーの価値を感じていただいているのかっていうところを徹底的に
con
ですね議
ese
論して、
es mejor,
分析して、
juego de lucha que jugaron gracias por él,
いかにソウルキャリバ
por
ー
el
をですね
mismo
表現するかっていうのが
Soul
私のチャ
Calibur.
レンジ。
Así como
I think, as you mentioned,
recuerdo
that
Soul
we
Calibur.
are dealing with a very long sort of legacy here with Soul Calibur
Creo que
franchise,
esperaba tanto
and
que lo lancen
there
de
was
reserva
some
como
internal, I
reservación.
don't struggle is the right
¿Cuándo
word, but
cuándo
a little politically inside
será
where
que
it
vamos a
wasn't the right
reservar
climate as a
digitalmente?
company to be releasing
Pero
Soul
estos
Calibur.
son
So
del
it's
Soul
been a while
Calibur
since Soul
5.
Calibur 5, but what we did is we really just
Ah, no,
revisited
no,
all
parece
the
que
past
no hay
Soul
como Soul
Caliburs
Calibur
and really tried
5.
to boil it down to the essence of what we felt made Soul
Ah,
Calibur
no,
amazing
es
and why it
distinto a
has such a
el
large
Soul
fan base
Calibur
right now, and
6.
really just condense that and put it all into Soul Calibur 6.
Tell us a little bit about what's new
Ay,
in
pero
this particular
por
chapter
una
of
parte
Soul
me
Calibur
encantaría
6.
que
Because,
pusieran
as you said,
como
long-running
estilo
series, and I'm sure fans are excited about
clásicas
what's
de
next.
Soul Calibur.
E3 中に、公開させていただいたまずストーリーモードというのがありまして、
Bueno, ahí está ya.
これはです
Así
ね、あえ
como
てソウルキャリバー
tal
1
como
と
pasó
2の時代に戻し
en
て、
el Soul Calibur 5.
ソウルキャリバーとソウルエイジが生まれた原点、何か
amaba ese
今一度
mapa,
僕らが定義し直してお客様に
pero
楽しんでもらおうと
aunque
いう
un
ふう
poco
に思って
más
作ってます。
extenso.
過去のシリーズの中でも最大級のボリューム
Aunque
で
el mismo lugar, pero había que recuerdo este lugar, pero es el mismo,
So
es el
one thing
mismo
that
mapa,
we just showed at
pero
E3 is a very comprehensive story mode,
en
and we're taking the timeline all
una
the way
parte
back
que
to
nunca había
about Soul Calibur 1
que
and Soul
en el
Calibur 2,
mismo
when
lugar, pero
we're
en
talking about,
otro
Soul Calibur
otras
versus Soul
situaciones.
Edge, Light versus Darkness, and that was a story we really wanted to
No puede
revisit
ser que
and tell
vuelva
with,
Soul Calibur
with what we
desde
have available to us
tal
today. So I think it
esa
has a lot in
decepcionante
store
Soul
for
Calibur
people
anterior.
who are a longtime fan of the franchise, and I think volume-wise, it's safe to say that this is the most packed Soul Calibur of them all. So
A bold claim.
yes, you alluded to a series that has been around for a very long time, the mid '90s for the original Soul Edge way back when. What do you think are some of the biggest and most important enhancements that have come to the series over the years?
その長年にわたって一番このシリーズにとってのこう大事な進化というかこう変化です。
ソウルキャリバー自体はおっしゃる通り長い歴史をあって、その中でも剣を持った戦いっていうのはシリーズを重ねるごとにいろいろと変化していっています。で、このソウルキャリバー6においてソウルキャリバーらしさとして僕たちが一番気にしたことは、剣を持って憧れの武器を持ってそれを振り回す楽しさ、それからエイトウェイランに代表されるようにリングの中を自由に 3D 空間を自由に動き回れる楽しさ、ここがソウルキャリバーがソウルキャリバーだというゆえんですし、このソウルキャリバー6でとても大事にしたことです。
I think over the years we really emphasized the idea that this is a fighting game in which weapons are kind of the star. Like we're dealing with all kinds of swords, various types of weapons, and we really wanted to make taking up that weapon that you might have always wanted to try, but obviously don't have the ability to in real life, and just making it really satisfying when swinging this weapon, giving the player the freedom to move around space. That I think has been a very essential part of the Soul Calibur experience. So again, we tried to put all of that into Soul Calibur 6. Yeah, great.
I think one of the coolest things about Soul Calibur is sort of the fusion of settings and art styles that comes with the game. I mean, there's some historical fantasy, there's just pure fantasy, there's like, martial arts and Chinese martial arts in the game. What are the...
Okay. ¿Pero qué? Ah, claro. ¿Aló?